Hey friends! In this video, I'll be sharing about how I built a six-figure net worth in just a few years and quit my corporate job to build my own business. I'll also be sharing some personal finance lessons from my journey and explaining how this YouTube channel fits into my plans to build a financial planning firm. The three main parts of this video will be why I quit my corporate job, how I could afford to quit my corporate job, and what my plans are for this channel and my business moving forward. So, to get started, I never really planned on being a financial planner. When I went to Baylor, I got my degree in religion and I planned to pursue ministry after I graduated. But as part of my minor in business, I was taking a lot of classes in finance, especially personal finance, and I found that I really loved it. Growing up, I was lucky enough to have a dad that worked in finance. He has his certified financial planning designation, and he taught me what money was from a young age. So I understood it, and I had a good relationship with it, and I saw it as a tool that can be used to purchase the freedom that's necessary to live a meaningful life. But at the same time I was getting my education in personal finance, I was working in the projects and helping to start and run a 501c3 nonprofit that was serving a community that was at least at the time 93% at or under the poverty line. So I was constantly talking with folks that had a very warped relationship with money, oftentimes seeing it as a means of control or coercion, or just rejecting it altogether, which unfortunately in this day and age isn't really an option. I was working really hard to try to bring some peace and consistency into these communities, but I kept hitting roadblocks. Either because people were so stuck in their financial circumstances that they couldn't accept the help, or because they were accepting the help but allowing themselves to become dependent on it, which completely removes any possibility of people being able to step up and take control of their own lives and their own financial circumstances, and that's a necessary part of having a sustainable financial future. Nobody is ever going to care about your finances as much as you do. So if you have a good relationship with your money and you know the next steps for managing it well, you will always be your best financial planner. It was largely through these experiences that I realized just how broken our relationship with money is in most of the developed world. I also realized that I, as someone who had dedicated my life to serving others and who had a unique aptitude for personal finance, was in a good position to help people with their money to try to impact that cultural relationship, at least for some people and at least to whatever degree I could. So I decided that after college I wasn't going to continue on to seminary, which would have been my path if I wanted to keep going towards ministry. And instead I entered the world of personal finance and actually got a job with a wealth management company right after college. But I ended up leaving that position after only 4 months because I realized that at most, as a financial planner in that capacity, I could meet with 50 to 100 clients and help them with their finances. And if I wanted to really change the cultural relationship that we have with money, that would never be enough. I ended up finding a different position in personal finance where I was working with EY. That's one of the big four tax companies. In this position, I was working with employees of large companies or government agencies, giving them financial planning services as an employee benefit with their company. At the time, this was perfect. I was paid a good salary to just help people with their finances all day, and I had no conflicts of interest. I was helping a very diverse group of people, from very low-paid government employees to very high-paid corporate execs, and I was able to benefit from learning from all these different types of financial backgrounds. This position allowed me to help dozens of people a week, and it was exactly what I was looking for. I wasn't selling anything, I made no commissions, I was just helping people with my advice. And now that I was in a good position to help as many people as I could, I started doubling down on my personal finance education, so that the information I was giving these folks was the best information they could possibly hope for. In this process of increasing my personal finance education, I also got my certified financial planning designation, which requires 4,000 to 6,000 hours of time planning with clients, as well as passing the education requirement and passing the final exam. But it was worth it to me because this put me in the top echelon of my industry, allowing me to serve my clients with a higher degree of accountability for the ethics that I use when planning, and it equips me to help my clients to my utmost. After earning this designation, I continued to use that to help my clients at EY, but I was once again realizing I would need to do more if I wanted to have the reach to actually change our cultural relationship to money. Not just dozens of people a week, but thousands. Millions. This was a very difficult decision because EY was a phenomenal company to work for. I had a clear life path and I really enjoyed my coworkers. EY has been in the top 100 companies to work for the past 26 years. It offered stability, a great salary, retirement benefits, even had help with things like adoption and great paternity leave, which are both things that I value very much. On the flip side, I knew the only way that I'd be able to have the reach that I wanted to have to fulfill the calling that I felt called to was to start my own company and work for myself. This path is not stable. It comes with no guarantees, more taxes, and huge sacrifices both upfront and ongoing, both financially and otherwise. But it also offers more time freedom, so that me and my wife could spend more time with the family we hope to create. And it offers fulfillment in doing what I feel called to do, which to me is priceless. So in March of 2023, I took some time off to section hike part of the Appalachian Trail and think about what I wanted to do next. By April 15th, I had made that decision. I came home, put in my resignation, and began posting videos to YouTube. At this point, you're probably asking how becoming a YouTuber has anything to do with my dream for changing the cultural relationship with money in America, and how I can financially afford to just leave my job for what might be years while I build this new company. For that, we need to take a step back. Prior to going to college, I applied for scholarships every week of my senior year of high school and every month of my freshman year of college, so that by the end of college, 85% of my tuition was paid for in scholarships. I also worked as an RA for free housing and generally spent as little money as possible, sometimes even going to extremes to save money. At the same time, I was working multiple jobs in college, at one point working 3 jobs simultaneously and saving as much money as I could. At the time, I was doing this because I wanted to reduce my grad school debt as much as possible, but when I decided not to go to grad school, the reason for that money pivoted. Because I was learning finance at the time, I was realizing the opportunity offered by the crazy low interest rates of the pre-2021 housing market, so I decided I would buy an investment property as soon as I was able, which ended up being April of 2021. I spent months researching properties trying to figure out the best one to invest in. What I ended up getting was an old manufactured house on some property in the country outside of Waco. The house itself was very old, and as a manufactured home, it likely wasn't going to increase in value very much, but the house was on 4 acres of property that was strategically located. It was right off the main street of the town that I was in, and it was next to both the high school football stadium for that town and across the street from some property that had just been sold commercially. I really believed that this property was going to increase in value in the coming years, I just didn't know how long it would take. So I purchased the property as a live-in flip. A live-in flip is when you purchase a home to live in that you believe is going to increase quite a lot in value in the future. And the benefit of a live-in flip is as long as you've lived in that house as your primary residence for at least 2 of the past 5 years, then you can sell that house at a profit, and all of the profits you make from the sale of that house, up to $500,000 for a married couple, are not includable in your taxes. And for me, this strategy worked out. In April of this year, so 2024, I was able to sell 1.5 acres of that property to Dollar General, who's going to build on that commercially. And from the proceeds of that sale, I was not only able to pay off my mortgage on the home and the remaining 2 acres of the property, but have a little bit left over as well. Prior to selling that land, I'd also been living very frugally and saving about 50% of every pay period. So I had about $40,000 in savings by the time this land deal went through. Between that $40,000 and the money I hope to make by selling the primary house and the remaining 2-ish acres of my land, I should have about 2 to 3 years of runway to get this business off the ground. I should also say that this wouldn't have been possible if I didn't maintain my emergency fund, avoid all high interest debt, and live very frugally. The land deal took about 20 months from the first letter of intent to purchase until the final payment, and I can honestly say that even if the land deal didn't go through, I'd still be in a position to launch this company, albeit from a very less comfortable financial one. A good lesson to take away from this is that housing is almost universally our largest expense. So by finding a way to finesse that housing, you can absolutely change your life. Even when you have no money, you can live with family if that's an option, or live with a lot of roommates to reduce your housing costs. When you have some money, you can do a live and flip like I did, or you can purchase a house and then rent out some of the rooms in that house. And if you've got a good amount of money saved up, maybe you can buy a multifamily home, like a duplex, triplex, or a quad. That way you can rent out the other units and use that to pay your mortgage. Just be creative, keep your mind open, and look for opportunities, and you should be surprised what you find. Okay, now that I've explained the why and how I plan to start my own business, let me explain what I hope to do with that business. If you watch the why part of my video, you understand that my ultimate goal is to change our cultural relationship with money here in the developed world. This is why I'm starting here on YouTube and with other social media platforms. In my first company, I could help a few people a day. With EY, I was helping dozens of people a day, but through social media, I'm able to help thousands of people a day with very intentional, professional, and unbiased advice that will hopefully help nudge us in the right direction so that money no longer becomes a source for fear or resentment, but becomes a tool we can use to live more fulfilling, meaningful, and purposeful lives while also increasing financial literacy overall. I have only been posting videos on this platform for about a month now, but I've already been able to reach over 22,000 people, and my watch time is over 170 hours, which is about the same amount of time I would have spent directly working with clients in my previous role. And once again, this is only a month into publishing content. The upside potential is virtually infinite, and it's been so encouraging to have people engage with my content and respond in the comments with questions and encouragement. Up to this point, I've only been posting short videos, which are a minute or less. But starting with this video, I'll be publishing longer form content, which can let me get more in depth with the topics I'm covering. And this is all just phase 1 for my plan with the business. Once I have enough subscribers, I plan on launching the financial planning arm of the business as well. This is where I'll offer one-on-one meetings with me so I can help people with their unique financial circumstances in a way that I just can't using broadly reaching videos. My firm will be structured as an advice-only model, which I find to be the most ethical and productive model for long-term financial management and self-sufficiency. Currently, people that need professional financial planning help have one of two choices. If they have a large enough net worth, they can work with a financial planner that charges based on an assets under management or AUM basis. This is where the client, you, would pay a financial planner to manage your money for you, and they would charge a percentage of the money that they're managing. This can be a good model, especially for high net worth individuals with very complex financial situations, but it does have a few downsides. Because the fees in this model are ongoing for as long as you're working with that planner, it can end up costing you a lot of money in the long term. It also doesn't come with the peace or pride that is offered through understanding your own finances and knowing that you're managing your money in a way that's going to lead to the most meaningful life for you. And this model of financial planning is already relatively rare, making up only 6 to 8% of the financial planners available. Also, financial planners operating under this model are only going to work with folks that have enough money saved or invested to justify their time, given the fees and percentage of the money that they're managing. So if you don't have that much money, this option often isn't even available to you. So for the majority of folks that are struggling with debt or just need help knowing where to get started, they go to the other model, a financial planning model that makes money by selling you financial products, also called a fee-based model. This model is what's used by 92 to 94% of the industry, and it can be done in a very ethical way, but the nature of this model includes an inherent conflict of interest, where the planner only gets paid if they convince their clients to adopt some sort of financial planning product, like a certain investment or an insurance policy. Planners using this model should also help with other topics in finance, like managing debt well or maximizing your tax strategies, but if they don't have a product available in that topic, then they don't have any incentive to take the time to learn these topics well or to manage them well for their clients. Good financial planning should incorporate every aspect of the client's financial life so that all of them are working comprehensively together towards fulfilling the client's financial goals. I do recognize that fee-based financial planning is a legitimate and often good option for a lot of clients, and that well-educated and ethically operating financial planners can provide a great value to clients using this model. But I also know that I personally couldn't operate using this model in good faith with my clients. So, where does that leave me? There is a tiny population of financial planners that are operating under what's called an advice-only model. This is currently less than 1% of the industry. This model is exactly as it sounds. Clients work one-on-one with a financial planner. That planner helps them to develop a financial plan for their life moving forward and makes sure they understand that plan so that they can then leave that planner, no longer paying them fees, and manage their finances for themselves with autonomy. This model is so unpopular with financial planners largely because it equips the clients with the tools and education necessary to then leave the planner, no longer paying them money, and to go and operate their finances on their own. It's like a dating app that guarantees you'll find the perfect match within just a few hours, therefore eliminating your need to continue paying the app's ongoing subscription fees. For some folks that DIY their finances pretty well, they might only need an hour or so to get what they need from that financial planner, and then they can leave. For other folks with more complex financial situations, it may take longer to build understanding and develop that comprehensive plan, but once again, once they have that plan, they can then leave that planner and no longer pay them ongoing fees, at least until their financial situation gets further complicated by something new. But this model then leaves the planner without any clients, so they have to go and find a new client. I love this model because it empowers you as the client to be able to go off and manage your finances for yourself without paying the ongoing fees of the assets under management model and without the conflicts of interest present in a product sales model. The problem for me as a planner is that this model requires a constant flow of new clients in order to be sustainable, especially given the very high costs associated with managing and running a financial planning firm. And that's why I'm starting here on YouTube and with social media. My hope is to build enough of a following that I can sustain that necessary constant flow of clients so that half of my day can be spent working one-on-one with people, helping them with their finances, like I love to do, and that would afford me the opportunity to spend the other half of the day creating free content and resources like these videos here on YouTube. 1 month in, and I'm already very encouraged by my experience so far. I've really enjoyed learning the new skills necessary to make these educational videos, and to get to dedicate every day to researching and focusing my thoughts on a different financial planning topic. So if you have made it here to the end, then I really appreciate you taking the time and supporting what I'm trying to do here. The best way that you can continue to support my efforts is to subscribe to this channel and encourage other folks that might benefit from this information to subscribe as well. Also, by liking my videos and or engaging with them in the comments, you're encouraging the algorithm to push my videos out to more folks so that they can see my videos as well. Other than that, God bless, and please feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions or topics you'd like me to cover on a future video. And really, thank you so much. All the encouragement I've been getting means the world to me.